Now that we've completed the first part of our blood typing and we know what type of reactions to look for, we can start on our Saved by the Bell murder mystery. I'm going to start now with the victim slash suspects, so my characters from Saved by the Bell. First, I'm going to start with Zach Morris, and I'm going to follow the same procedure as I did in the first part of the lab. I'm just going to add a few drops of each of my victims and suspects and test them against my anti-A, my anti-B, and my anti-RH. So I'm adding anti-A, anti-B, anti-RH. So again, that was Zach Morris. Now I'm going to go to AC Slater, and we'll see what type of reactions we get here. Adding anti-A, adding anti-B, adding anti-RH. So I know that first one was a little hard to see, but there is a color change that is occurring here where I added the anti-RH. Next step is Screech. Adding anti-A, anti-B, anti-RH. Next is Kelly Kapowski. Adding anti-A, anti-B, and anti-RH. All right, now I'm going to get a new well plate and check out the last of my suspects here. I've got Lisa Turtle. Adding anti-A, anti-B, and anti-RH. And last up is Jesse Spano. Adding anti-A, anti-B, anti-RH. So now I've finished with all of my victims slash suspects. Now I'm going to go on to the location. So the first location we have is the Max Cafe. Adding anti-A, anti-B, and anti-RH. Next up is the Bayside High School gym. Adding anti-A, anti-B, anti-RH. Mr. Belding's office is next. Adding anti-A, anti-B, and anti-RH. I know it's a little hard to tell on camera, but I do see a reaction that is happening here. So there is a reaction that is happening with the anti-B. Now we have Jesse's house for our fourth location. And I'll add anti-A, anti-B, and anti-RH. Now I'll move on to my last couple of locations. Malibu Sands Beach Club. And I'll add the same three things here: anti-A, anti-B, and anti-RH. And for our last location, we have Mr. Tuttle's classroom. Anti-A, anti-B, anti-RH. So that is the end of our location. So our last set involves the weapons. So I will test now my 6 weapons. I'll start with the baseball bat. Adding anti-A, anti-B, and anti-RH. Next is the golf club. Adding anti-A, adding anti-B, and anti-RH. Now we have the cell phone. Everybody remembers Zach's ginormous cell phone that he carried, so we'll test it. Adding anti-A, anti-B, and anti-RH. Next up, we have the English textbook. Adding anti-A, anti-B, and anti-RH. And now my last 2 weapons that I have now are the skeleton from the science classroom, which in our classrooms here we affectionately call Fred. So add a little bit of it. All right, now adding anti-A, anti-B, and anti-RH. It looked like there was a little bit of a color change there on when I added the anti-B, but that is no reaction there. All right, our last weapon is the chessboard. And I'll add anti-A, anti-B, and anti-RH. Again, it looked like there was a little bit of a reaction here, but that was a no reaction. All right, so now we have all of our victims and suspects, the locations, and the weapons. You need to get your results based on the color changes and the reactions that you saw here, and then go through your cases and figure out who was the murderer, where it happened, and what weapon was used.